Subscribe to the Mystic Vibrations Shock of the Hour program today and never miss another episode. The Shock of the Hour is a Radio Anu exclusive program produced every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. By now, I am sure that you are aware that all our programs are packed with information, inspiration, mystic vibrations, as well as hot button topics. Every evening we enter into a different dimension, even if it is a part 2 of the previous program, whether it's history or mystery, biology or philosophy, domestic affairs or the locks of your hair. The mystic vibration is sure to bring something new and interesting to the table every evening. So never miss another episode again. Subscribe to the Shock of the Hour now. And don't forget your key Swahili word of the day and your daily scientific fact. So, to subscribe, give us an email, priestisaac27@gmail.com, or call or WhatsApp us today. Area code 1268-728-3162. The Shock of the Hour. Never miss another program. And a special note to all our new subscribers. All our new subscribers will receive a special copy of the DVD documentary, full length, The Night of the Black Tiger, The Divinity of Marcus Messiah God. Blessed love, salam to all, glorious celebration to each and every one, wonderful morning uprising. We're talking about, yes, the second day of November 2018 as we are celebrating the 88th coronation celebration anniversary of the coronation of Kadamawe Haile Selasse I. We're celebrating this 88th anniversary of the coronation of Empress Menen. Oh yes, we're celebrating the coronation of the father and mother of creation, Ethiopia, 1930. Yes, again, it was the 2nd of November. And of course, many ones who uphold the concept and the theory, the theology, the whole quote-unquote doctrine of Ras Tafari. This is one of the more important days. It could only be second to the 23rd day of July, which is the birthday itself, the earth day, the born day of Haile Selasse I. So the 2nd of November, a very key day, a very important day in the realms of Rastafari. For the day itself being 88 years ago, the 2nd of November, was a day that is considered to be the fulfillment of countless of prophecies, the coming of a king, a great king that is supposed to sit upon the throne of great King David, a coming of a king through the lineage of Solomon. As I said, the days may be second only to the earth day of Haile Selassie, for obviously that is the day he came into the plane, came from through the womb into this dimension that we are in right now. But at the same time, that was obviously the beginning stage. That was the day he was born. But yet still throughout the years and throughout time, there are other things that were to be fulfilled to kind of mark him as who he really is, you know. Even though that day itself was a dynamic day, we're talking about the ending of a 7-year drought and many other things that stand out, you know. But the coronation day, the 2nd of November now, 1930, very interesting, you know. When we speak about the whole aspect of 72 representatives or 72 nations being represented at this coronation, which stands out in the prophecies of the ancient time, the prophecies of the Buddha, the prophecies of the Kemetic philosophy, you know, the prophecy in the Hindu tradition. We see the 72 in the Menen tradition, the Olmec tradition. These are things we have covered, obviously, and even down to the biblical tradition, the 70 and 2 and the cycle of the sun, and the 70 and 2 and the cycle of just life itself, and the blood and the maturity of the sperm and the petals of the flowers, and you can go into so many things. And we discovered the 72, not to even mention the Septuagint and its writers. So 72 is always considered as this sacred number, you know, this mystic esoteric number, which is in reality, that is why it's utilized even Freemasonically a lot. The number 72, half of 140 and 4. So there's depths within the 70 and 2, you know. But what I want to do this evening, because I'm very sure that the majority of the listeners and the audience in general, because this is going to go further afield, I am very positive that most of you have some idea of the coronation of Haile Selassie, more than likely, you know. You know, again, of the events of the 2nd of November 1930 and in Ethiopia, and of course, you know, grand spectacle and grand celebration and grand banquet, and it was like a 7-day celebration. So we all have a good idea of, you know, the majesty that surrounds that day. And again, especially if you are a person who have accepted Rastafari, and even if you have not, I'm sure you still know of the link that has been made as it relates to Haile Selassie and the fulfillment of prophecy. For behold, the Lion of Judah was found worthy to take the book and to loose the 7 seals thereof. And of course, that also aligns itself with the prophecies in the very same revelation that was on his tie was written, on his vesture and tie was written, King of Kings and Lord of Lords. So the whole thing, and linking that with the conquering Lion of the tribe of Judah, it is prophecy, you know, in its fullness being fulfilled. Now, what I wanted to do on this wonderful morning here, as I said, the 2nd of November is in full bloom. And since it is the 88th anniversary of the coronation of Haile Selassie, I wanted to look at the cosmics, the literal movements of the heavens today, on the day, you know, of the coronation of Haile Selassie I, the anniversary. Now, what I'm saying is that a few days ago, basically, there was the celebration of Halloween. Halloween being the 31st of October, usually a tradition that is kept up in the United States of America. And of course, as that is the United States of America, you would find people all over the world keeping up the tradition, the American tradition of the Halloween. Now, the Halloween, like many other American traditions came from Europe in one form or the other. It may not be in the exact form that they celebrated now, but that whole connection with the dead and the ghosts and the vampires and the quote-unquote zombies and all of these different things, just like we take the word zombie and the tradition of zombie and show you that is directly connected to Nzumbi, you know, Nzumbi, which is a Congo African deity, the so-called god Nzumbi. And that is why many African traditional kings have been called Zumbi, even those who came to the Western world as prisoners of war, Zumbi. And many of our historical characters that carry the name Zumbi, they're very mystic in their movements. Some of them have disappeared and never appeared again. Zumbi, like the zombie. In the same way, the zombie can be connected not just with the dead and the soulless living, walking dead and all of that in the European tradition, but even going as far back as to Europe. In the same way, we can make that connection. Some people may flip to understand that the whole Halloween, as gruesome as it is, may have a deeper tradition than Europe. Because reality is the All Souls tradition, because I have obviously come in contact with people from Suriname. For those of you who have never been to Suriname, when we talk about the voodoo and the so-called Obia and these different traditions, Suriname is a place that you like to experience. Talk about people walking into fire and coming out 5 minutes after. Suriname is a very mystic place. Talk about seeing little trolls running up and down in the jungles of Guyana, South America, you know. And many of us who have never experienced this, we may be quick to deny the reality, but the reality does exist. I'm saying all that to say, you would hear about All Saints, and there's a village in Antigua known as by the name of All Saints, by the way, but you would hear of the All Saints Day and the All Souls Day. And this is the time of the 31st, the 31st of October, the 1st of November to the 2nd of November. Now that's reality. And this 3-day time frame that many ones literally celebrate. This is not Halloween I'm talking about now. This is before Halloween. I just took the time to explain how traditions are borrowed and in many times falsified and corrupted. We see it all the time in religion, in Christianity, and so borrowed traditions from ancient time that has become, severely corrupted, and that's realistic. Even the characters of Christianity and the characters of some religion, even cartoon characters have their root in something genuine, but it has been corrupted, it has been stolen, it has been manufactured, to construe to appear to be different. And that's why in many cases we tend to throw away the baby with the bathwater. We do that all the time. We just throw everything away because, the white man gave us this, so we just dash it through the window, not knowing that the European may have borrowed it from us. And in many cases, we are so separated from our ancient tradition that, believe it or not, sometimes it would be good if we even observe the tradition that the European have given us and take our time to study it properly, and within it you would find the truth. In reality, one case is the Bible. You understand? I'm not one that preaches that the quote unquote white man wrote the Bible. No, man, that didn't start there. But obviously, we know for sure how we came across the Bible in this modern day time, especially those of us in the Western world. But when you take your time, you understand the origin of these things. So the point I'm making is that the 3-day from the 31st of October going into the 2nd of November is considered to be a spiritual day, or 3 spiritual days, a spiritual time. This is just facts. As Rastafari, well, I've never really heard any Ras ever make any connection with the All Souls Day tradition and the coronation of Haile Selassie I. I'm just saying that as spiritual beings, we should at least look into it. Because remember, Haile Selassie did not become emperor on the 2nd of November. The 2nd of November was a day that he chose to coronate himself, meaning that Haile Selassie was the emperor of Ethiopia since the 2nd of April, 1930. So from the 2nd of April, at the death of Queen Zeditu, Empress Zeditu, Nigus Tafari officially became the emperor the negus and negas. But the coronation of the Ethiopian king, the Ethiopian emperor, took place 7 months after, on the 2nd of November 1930. And this was by his choice. He chose the day for his coronation. He prepared Ethiopia. Renovations was taking place, and the streets were prepared because he was inviting guests from all over the international community to come and witness the fulfillment of biblical prophecy and other prophecies, being the coronation again of Negus and Negas. The Gautama Buddha has arrived and returned. The pyramid is being echoed here in the coronation of Haile Selassie I. We're talking about Negajuna coming to life. We're talking about the fulfillment of the Archer and the fulfillment of the Orion Rising. All of that was taking place on the 2nd of November 1930. And if you have any denial in that, I could just point you in the direction of the Master of Ceremonies, and I could just point you in the direction of the documentary known as Seven, and you will surely see, for a fact, all of what I am spewing out to you here right now. So the All Souls time frame, before we go to the depths of the coronation, we have to understand he's the God of the living and not of the dead. We like these sort of phrases. He's a God of the living and not of the dead. But what really is the dead? What is really the dead? We don't want to play with semantics here, but we're looking at this realistically. First of all, nothing really dies. We got to come to grips with that. If energy and matter and all of these things, energy cannot really be destroyed. Even matter cannot really be destroyed. The smallest thing that you can find, even if it's a dust, which is not the smallest thing, but even if it's a dust, you cannot destroy the dust, You cannot destroy the dust. Let us deal with something you can deal with. Let us get a grain of sand, which may be a few times bigger than the dust. You cannot destroy a grain of sand, no matter how much you pulverize it. It's just going to break into smaller pieces of sand, I guess. And no matter how you split those down and down, they're not going to really disappear. Nothing really gets destroyed. There's nothing that gets destroyed. Nothing gets destroyed. Even if a leaf drops on the ground and it dries and it withers away and it crumbles, it's still there. It didn't disappear. If it quote unquote disintegrates, according to the real definition of that, I don't have a dictionary in front of me, but if I'm correct, that is not destroyed. It doesn't disappear. And even when things disappear, that doesn't mean they're destroyed neither. Because the water in the bucket that evaporates, it disappears because we can't see it. Its appearance is not with us anymore, but not because you cannot see it, mean it's not there. I always say the wind is invisible, but when you put smoke to the wind, you see the wind come to life. When you see the smoke moving in this direction and that direction, and you take a draw of the chalice, and you blow the smoke out the nostrils, you see that the smoke is moving and twirling and all of that. That's the wind. It's as if the wind has on clothes. And wind is directly connected to the spirit, the spiritus. From the old language, the spiritus and the spiritus, it literally means the wind. That is why the Holy One or the Holy Spirit connects himself with the wind. And look for me in the whirlwind. It's a deep vibration. So the wind, the wind represents your spirit. Your spirit is like a quickening wind. The wind, your spirit is wind. And when you put on clothes and become a visible human being, it's like the smoke. So the smoke allows us to see the living wind. Oh yeah, that's the deep vibration. That is why the chalice and the marijuana and the sacrifice and the resurrection is deep, because the wind, the spirit is being resurrected when you draw the chalice, So it's a deep vibration. So the wind, although it appears invisible, You know, it's still there. Nothing, the point I'm making is that nothing dies. That's the main thing. Nothing dies and nothing really gets destroyed. Even things that are non-living, quote unquote, you cannot really destroy them. Nothing. You drop a glass on the ground, a plate then on the ground, or you mash up the plate. Okay, you mash up the plate, but you have not totally destroyed the plate. If you take the smallest speck of that plate and you break it, it can break and break and break and break and break. If you cannot break it anymore, it can still be broken. Maybe you need an ant to come and break it for you now because it's so small. But the point is, in the ant world, it can still go down more and more and more and more and more to the microscopic world. It can still be broken down, 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 down. Nothing really dies. Nobody dies. Human beings, even your physical body, you got to keep in mind, even when you pass your flesh, it returns to the earth, but not just the earth. It returns to the elements. When people pass on, they don't just turn back to dirt, as we call it. They release gases that go into the atmosphere. And if you understand science, the gas what's the right term? The gas may, dissipate then in the atmosphere, but it's still there. It is still there. That is why the ancestors would have a certain level of power within the atmosphere, because you're breathing in. You may be surprised what you are inhaling or who you are inhaling. Liquid come out of the dead body, whether it's an animal or a human being. So in a sense, what made them up still exists. So nothing really dies. And that's just the physical level. If we want to get real now, you are really your spirit. That's why nothing really dies. Because, as I say all the time, I do not have a soul. I do not have a spirit. I am a soul. I have a physical body, but I am a soul. Why? Because my soul and my spirit, I cannot give you an age for my soul and my spirit, but I can tell you when I was born in this physical body. I could tell you how old I am, but how old is the soul? You see, I'm saying how old I am. No, that's how old this physical is. But I am way beyond that. The I and I, is way beyond that. Maybe from creation. You understand? Your spirit and your soul. So when we come to understand that we are spiritual people before physical people, we have a different outlook on even life. Some people say, are you a spiritual man? I hope so. Everybody's a spiritual. Whether you accept it or not, you're a spiritual man. It's just like saying, are you a man? Whether you accept it or not, you're a man or a woman. That's what you are. You cannot really go against that. Even if you think you take a quote unquote sex change. Sorry to bring that nastiness in this conversation, but just to make the point, you can't really change. You cannot really change who you are. As those of you who listen to us, that specifically Radio Anu, you would know. And those who are subscribers, especially those who are subscribers, a few weeks ago I sent you the episode we did on those who have spoken out, speaking about their great regret as far as changing their gender. And one fella clearly said, hey, listen, man, I was a man, I became a woman, and I'm a man again, and I'm telling you, nobody can really change their gender. And take that from the horse's mouth, man. Nobody, even doctors saying, listen, we make chop off the phallic and dig a hole in you, but really, you cannot change your gender, because the gender, no matter how much hormones they give you, you cannot really change your gender, because the man and the woman, the makeup is different internally, not just your hips, the diaphragm, so many different things, the womb, so many different things within the makeup of a male and a female that you cannot really change no gender. You're going to do all of that, you'll kill the person for sure at the end of the day. So you are a spirit. You are a soul. You are an eternal being. Technically, we're all immortal. So the spirit is a very mystic thing. So when we celebrate now All Souls Day, and I must say I don't really celebrate it, but I know of it. It's a celebration directly dealing with connecting with the dead. You hear the language, the dead. Now I just took time to explain that nothing dies. So why did I do that? So that when we reach to this aspect of the conversation, you could comprehend that the ancient tradition and even the tradition that is kept up now, especially in places like Suriname, Mexico, Louisiana in the United States, certain places that really overlook the Halloween rubbish and go to the traditional All Souls Night. That's what it's called, or the All Souls tradition, the 31st, the 1st, the 2nd of November, from the 31st of October. They connect themselves, I wouldn't say with the dead. That is just because that's how we speak. They connect themselves with what? Their ancestors. The United States of America tradition has severely corrupted the stuff into the Halloween and skeletons coming out of the grave and ghosts and Dracula. In a sense, they kind of have the idea of it. Because skeleton, I mean, you're dealing with bones, but we're not dealing with the bones. No, man. We're dealing with the spiritual essence of the ancestors. Bones are important too, but that's not what we're on. We're definitely not on Dracula sucking no blood. That's why children dress up like mummies and they dress up like some sort of Frankenstein, something dead. And now people are dressing up like people that have passed on, even in the black community. You see people dressed up like Michael Jackson, Prince, Biggie Smalls, people that they revere that have died. So you can see the Halloween tradition now has actually gone to another level from when we were children, when it was just dressing up like some Captain Cook or a ghost with a sheet over your head and these kind of different things. So it's a different tradition now. But the reality is that, again, it's coming from somewhere beyond that, where people that are spiritually inclined would take that 3-day period to have connection and honor those that have gone before them, the souls that have passed on into the afterlife or into the other realms. So that 3-day period from the 31st of October to the 2nd of November, in some traditions, is considered a sacred time. And listen to me good, they actually communicate, not just with the unseen, but with the unseen that was once seen. So grandmothers and mothers and great-grandparents and people that you knew, and even those a bit further away that you never met, come into the scope at that time, because apparently the portals of the heavens, assimilate itself with that time. And those of us in the know, even some of the native Indians and all of these ones, they understand that tradition and they literally keep it up. But it's not Halloween. It ain't pumpkins and carving some jack-o'-lantern face in the pumpkin and pussycats and witches riding on broom. No, that's not what it is. It's a more sacred time. Now I'm saying that to come back to the king. The niggas, some of us, we really don't understand this thing. Eh? The 1st of November, although we as Ras, we tend to overlook the 1st of November. Now the 1st of November is Independence Day in Antigua, right where I am here, 1981. So just the 1st of November, that is yesterday, we were celebrating, well, it was the celebration of Independence Day, the 37th anniversary of Independence Day, the land with the sun in its flag, and the 37th cycle of the sun, which is, of course, is the polar electromagnetic cycle of the sun. As we're talking about both ancient and modern Anu, Green Castle Hill, the megaliths thereof. So the 1st of November now, in 1905, am I correct? 1910? Yes, at the age, yeah. In 1905, on the 1st of November, Haile Selassie was crowned the Dejma. Now at that time, he was not really utilizing the name Haile Selassie, although a lot of us not aware, Haile Selassie, according to our history, was his baptismal name. So he didn't just take the name Haile Selassie in 1930. That was him from the beginning. But he utilized the name Tafari, or as we would say, Tafari, Leech Tafari, Leech Tafari. So what happened now, at the age of 12, 13, he got the title of the keeper of the door, the Dejimak. And it is a specific title of nobility. And he was quite young when he received that title, by the way, you must admit that. And as I said, he got that title on the 1st of November. That is the day before the 2nd of November. This is 1905 now. This is far from 1930, at least 25 years from 1930. But I'm just trying to show you, we jump over these dates. This is a very significant title, you know, that he received on the 1st of November, because to me that signifies the passing over into manhood according to the prophecies, like Christ being 13 when he was in the temple, fully 12, you know, like the Osiris and the Horus and all these other ancient characters separating from their parents and going their own way at the age of 12 and 13, you know, coming into manhood at the age of 12 and 13. And we see that living hieroglyphic being fulfilled directly in Haile Selassie I, live and direct at the age of fully 12 or 13, the Dejimash. Now, some people call it Dejmak and many different things, but when you hear the Ethiopians pronounce it, the Dejimash. So I'm just showing you now the importance of this too. The 1st of November, that's right in the middle of the All Souls period, you know, the so-called Halloween energy. And I'm saying now, Haile Selassie was emperor since the 2nd of April. So it was actually a choice that he made. This is key. It is actually a choice that he made to have his coronation on the 2nd of November, 1930, which is a part of that whole traditional period symbolizing this resurrection, you know, of the ancient ancestors and the ancient spirit. And he gave it 7 months after, 7, which of course we don't have to go into the depths of the 7. So what I decided to do is just to highlight what is taking place in the elements on this day, the 2nd of November, 1988. I'm saying 1988. 2018, 88 years after the coronation. 88 years. Oh, come on, man. That's yesterday. 88 years ago, Haile Selassie was coronated. 88? Man, I know people that are 88 years old. I know people that are 90. I know people that are 95. You mean to tell me when they were 5 and 7 and you know, and were born, Haile Selassie was being crowned Negus and Agas? I thought this was some long time story. No, man. This is yesterday. That means just in 2001 then, when the planes ran into the Pentagon, that was just 60 years or so from the coronation of the king. That ain't too long ago. Wait a minute. That ain't too long ago, man. That ain't too long. That means in 1990, whatever was taking place in 1990, many of us could remember 1990. That's just a little time. That's a little, you know, a little time from the coronation, like 50 years or so, if my maths is correct. 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 60 or 70 years, you know, just showing you the time frame. It's not that long ago from the coronation of Negus. Now, right now, you may be listening to this after the fact, but on the 2nd of November, 2018, 88 years after the coronation. And why I found it interesting is because the 8 and the 8 is very key. You know, the 8 represents infinity. 8 is the only number that you could just draw with a pencil on a paper, and you don't have to stop, and you just keep drawing the 8. You have to start and stop. When you draw a 3, you start and you stop. A 1, you start and you stop. A 6, you start and you stop. Everything, 7, start and stop. Only an 8 and a 0. You could just run around the paper with your pencil or your pen until you tear the paper up. That's why 8 on the side is the symbol of infinity. 88, 8008 angels rise the sun in the morning, according to the book of Enoch, the 8. Good, this is wonderful, eh? The 88 known constellations in the heavens. 88 known constellations in the heavens, and we're celebrating the 88th anniversary of the coronation. So let us check the heavens. Right now, the moon, coming close to the new moon, the moon, on the 2nd of November 2018, the moon is in the constellation of Leo, right now. You may say, well, I mean, what does that mean? Well, it's deep, because tomorrow it's going to be coming out of the constellation. In fact, right now, the moon, on the 2nd of November 2018, the moon is right next to Regulus, the front, one of the front paws of the Leo constellation, the lion. So tomorrow at this time, the moon, remember the moon has a different pace than the sun. So tomorrow at this time, the moon will be obviously coming out of the lion. So by the 4th of November, the moon is totally out of the lion and gone into the Virgin, because the moon has a swift movement. So let's deal with today. Right now, the 2nd of November 2018, the moon is in the lion. Lion, the Lion of Judah. As we know, the lion is symbolic of the king of Ethiopia. And the moon, which is the brightest constellation, or the brightest object in the night sky, is in the lion right now. That is very key. And then listen to this, the planet Venus is in the Virgin, which is right behind of Leo. Now this is important, because Venus represents the woman as well. You know, they say Venus is the woman and Mars is the man. Venus does have a strong feminine energy. You got to keep that in mind. Venus has a strong feminine energy as a planet. So the fact that Venus is well situated in the Virgin constellation right now, which is the woman, the constellation that in my book begins the ecliptic belt right now, the Venus constellation, the Venus star, is in the Virgin constellation. That's why they both have the V, the vulva, the vagina, the vaginal canal, the V. You know, don't get scared, it's just reality. The Virgin, the Virgo, Venus. Venus is with the woman. I mean, Venus travels through the ecliptic belt like all the planets. So they have other constellations it could have been in, according to the clock. You know, you have Leo, you got Sagittarius, you have Gemini, you have Taurus, you have Aries, but the planet Venus is in the Virgin. Interesting. And the moon is in Leo, which is in front of the Virgin. Interesting. The sun is just coming out of the Virgin, and the sun now, hear this is very key. The sun is between the Virgin and the scales, Libra, the balance ruler, the scales. But Jupiter, which is the chief of the gods, Jupiter the planet, because Jupiter, these are Greek names, by the way, if you don't know. These are Greek names, Jupiter and all of that. These are Greek gods. Venus is a goddess, Mars a god, Saturn a god. These are Greek gods, and they gave these names to the planets. So obviously these are not really the planets' original names. But we as Africans, we still, just like what the Greeks are doing, we as Africans, we realized that the heavenly bodies have certain levels of symbolism that we do attach to, like the sun. The sun, that's where you get the term Son of God. And I don't think I have to explain the feathered snake right now. But the point is that although we never saw the sun as our God, and we never pray to the sun, but we understood in the astronomical realms the importance of the sun. So there was that connection made to the God. Let's put it that way. It's the same thing with the moon and the planets. We understood their movements. We understood their geometry. So we connected them to certain spiritual beings. Let's just say certain ethereal beings, or angels, or cosmic beings, spiritual entities. Yes. So that is how we saw the planets. So Pluto, Neptune, Uranus, these are Greek names for Greek gods. But at the same time, we always saw them as spiritual beings, like the constellation of Orion, which is many stars, and it looks like a man standing up in the heavens with his shield and his sword. We don't really worship Orion. We ain't gonna kneel down and pray to no set of stars, but it symbolizes a living Orion which is to come and which may have come before. So when Orion come, we recognize, hey, that's Orion in flesh, the man that stands on the water, 1 foot on water and 1 foot on land. You know, the man that perfectly divides the heavens in two. And you know exactly who we're talking about. In fact, he's the subject of this discussion here. So we're talking about the coronation of Haile Selassie'S I, Empress Menen, 2nd of November 1930. So right now, Jupiter, the planet, is in the constellation of the scale. I mean, to all astrologers, this should be important. Jupiter is in the constellation of the scale, which is justice. That's now, now. Tomorrow will be different. The day after surely will be different. And the day after, everything may be totally changed. So the moon is in Leo. Venus is in the Virgin with the woman, Empress Menen, and the chief god Jupiter is in the constellation of justice, which is the scale. And this, we actually go in order, man. Leo, then Virgin, then the scale, Libra, actually in order. So each constellation actually has a planet or a heavenly body situated in it, in a line at this time. Now this is what's outstanding. The Scorpion constellation, which is right after Libra, Mercury is in Scorpion. But listen, Mercury is not just in Scorpion. Remember, Scorpio or the Scorpion is a large constellation, one of the larger ones really from my perspective. But Mercury is not just in it, it's at the literal claw. So if you understand the constellation and you look up in the heavens, you see Mercury at the claw of the Scorpion. Remember, the claw is the weapon of the Scorpion. It is the claw that the Scorpion uses to commit the damage, to attack the enemy, the claw. So Mercury is in the claw of the Scorpion at the time of the 2nd of November 2018. You can understand the science. Now after the Scorpion, the next constellation is the Archer. The Archer is the individual with the southern crown. The Archer is considered the most southern constellation in the zodiac belt. It is the Archer where the sun lodges in on the winter solstice. The Archer has the arrow, Sagittarius, that's its name, the Archer. The bow and arrow pointed at the same Scorpion. And right now Saturn is actually in the Archer. But hear this again. Saturn is not just in the Archer, because you must keep in mind the planets also have their own motion. So the planets and the sun and the moon, they don't move at the same pace. Some of them, the planets have a totally different motion from each other. So some seems to move faster, some very slow. Some stay in a constellation for months because of its movement. Sometimes it goes into retrograde. You understand? So it's deep. But I'm saying right now, today, 2nd of November 2018, 88th anniversary of the coronation of Haile Selassie, the 88th constellation of the heavens, Saturn, another chief god, is not just in the Archer, because it can go through the Archer to the point where you see it over the Archer head and then coming out the Archer down by its feet. No, it's literally in the bow and arrow of the Archer. The weapon, Saturn, is literally lodged in the weapon of the Archer. Mercury is lodged in the weapon of the Scorpion. And after the Archer is the constellation known as Capricorn, which some people refer to as the goat, but We like to highlight Capricorn as a unicorn. That's what it looks like, straight up. I mean, I don't know where you see the goat. And in that horn of the Capricorn, the one horn, there is the god of war, Mars. Again, Mars is not just in Capricorn today, you know. Mars is on the horn of the Capricorn. So what I'm saying, these three constellations here, the Scorpion or Scorpio, Sagittarius or the Archer, and Capricorn, the Unicorn, all three of them have a planet in them at this time. Remember, this is not always so. It's not a constellation for a planet, you know. The planets move throughout the year, throughout their lifetime. The planets move throughout the zodiac belt. The sun has a definite, you know, one constellation per month. That's the sun. The moon basically goes through, you know, a constellation every 2 nights because of how swift it moves. You can read the book of Enoch and understand the swiftness of the moon. But I'm just showing you now, these constellations I just mentioned, Capricorn, the Archer, and the Scorpion, they all have planets in them right now. But the point is that the planets are not just lodged in them at some point. They are literally at the point of attack. So you have Mercury on the claw of the Scorpion. You have Saturn lodged in the bow and arrow of the Archer. And you have Mars lodged on the horn, the weapon, the point of attack of the Unicorn. What does this mean? It means something. Remember, this isn't no regular day. No? This is the 88th anniversary. The heavens declare the glory. This is the 88th anniversary of the coronation of His and Her Majesty. And the heavens are aligned perfectly to display the energy of the day. And from my understanding, as I'm observing the heavens, the energy of this day is a battle energy. May not just be for the day. It may resound throughout the next year until the next anniversary. You see, this is how you read the heavens. You know, this is why it's important that you deal with astronomy as well. I don't even like to talk of astrology. I think what we call astrology is a part of astronomy. But in the world we live, we separate astronomy and astrology. Astronomy really is, to me, the main thing. Astronomy is, you know, the study of the stars, the planets, like how far away is this planet, how many light years away is this star, and how old is this star, and the temperature of the star, and inclination, and all of these things. That's astronomy. You know, the makeup of the star, nickel and iron, that's astronomy. Astrology usually comes with what constellation is the star in right now, and how close is the sun to the moon. That's more astrology. And then you take the astrological chart and connect it to life and human beings and say, well, Mars is your planet because you were born under Mars, and Mars is in Gemini now, so that means you should be looking for your soul mate today, and all of that kind of stuff. That's usually down the realms of astrology. To me, it is taken out of the fullness thereof when it goes into astro misguide and your horoscope. You know, to me, they just take astrology and flip it. Astro guide. And what you call this stuff? Astro guide and your horoscope. But the main thing I'm saying here is that in ancient astronomy, what we call astrology was always a part of it. You don't really separate them, at least I don't. And I think that is why I can utilize them in its most powerful, you know, sense. So I'm showing you now, this is a time of war, not even defense. This is a time when you should be on guard. It may be on a spiritual realms, whatever, but it's directly connected to the coronation of Negus and Nagas. And that is why now Jupiter is in the scale. Now the scale doesn't have any weapon. Like the Scorpion has a weapon, its claw. Mercury is on its claw, literally on its claw. Mercury is not at the tail. Mercury is on the claw of the Scorpion. the point that it uses to attack. Saturn is not in the head of the archer. It's literally on the bow and arrow, the point that it uses to attack. Mars is not at the rear of the Capricorn that they call the goat. It's on the horn, the one horn of the unicorn, the point that it uses to attack. So this is attack mode. 2nd of November 2018, 88 constellations, the 88th anniversary of the coronation, constellation coronation. Everything is rhyming here. And Jupiter, the chief god, is sitting in the justice box in Libra, the scale. Justice will be served. And prior to that, the Virgo constellation is housing Venus, the planet. Wow. Which is the woman energy for sure. And the moon, the brightest object in the night sky, is in Leo. And not just in Leo, any old place. It's right next to Regulus at the front of Leo. And all of these constellations, Leo, the Virgin, Libra, the Scorpio, Archer, and the Capricorn, they all precede each other. And the sun is literally between the Virgin and the Libra constellation, the scales. Can you imagine that? Right now, 2nd of November 2018. Talk about the heavens declaring the glory of God. And of course, when you take your time and study, man, because I could tell you exactly where these same bodies were on the very day that the emperor was coronated. I could tell you where these stars and planets were the day you were born, the exact time you were born. And any day you choose by using specific softwares, they exist, man. They exist. You can do your own research. Don't become lazy, man. You can do your own research. And some people have the nerve to say, boy, we ain't got the time to do that kind of research like you, like me. Imagine that. It's like if I ain't got nothing to do. But I consider that this is important. Knowledge and information is important. That's why I not only collect it, that's why I relay it to all those who would want to learn. And for those of us who make the excuse that, oh, well, that's your job. Hear that? Hear this? You know, they literally tell you that, you know, that is your job. But yet still in reality, as a community, we don't respect each other for our jobs. I'm telling you, I know that for a fact. So anyway, give thanks. That is the movement of the heavens this day. Talking about the 88th anniversary of the coronation of Haile Selassie I. And this is why, again, in my book, it is so important for us to preserve a monument like Green Castle Hill. And I'm taking the opportunity now to invite each and every one to come down to Antigua, or to come up to Antigua, wherever you may be, and join us on the 2nd of, the 2nd of November, and join us from the 18th to the 24th of December. We will be celebrating the winter solstice. This is the winter solstice experience right here in Antigua, 2018 to Green Castle Hill. The 21st and the 23rd, our morning hike and our evening hike. Where? Green Castle Hill in Antigua. For those who have no idea what I'm talking about, I find that kind of strange, but don't worry, don't feel bad, it's okay. If you want to have a better idea, as I said, you could definitely visit our YouTube channel and you'll see all the information there as it relates to Green Castle Hill. You know, this hill in this little island, 108 square miles, just like the 108 deity in Angkor. Yep, mystic, isn't it? And the 108, if I'm not mistaken, the 108 chants that you have in the Rig Veda, 108 is very sacred. On 108 square miles, we have a hill that is loaded with volcanic megaliths that astrologers and astronomers and archaeologists have already come and done their research. and have proven that these megaliths, all of them, align with the movements of the heavens. So it aligns with even the 2nd of November 2018. It aligns with the 5th of May. It aligns with the solstices and the equinoxes and all these special days. There's a strong alignment right here in Antigua, and I think it's more than even the megalithic sites that have been made by human beings, because it's natural. The megaliths grow out of the earth like grass coming out of the ground. So that alone stands for something. It shows you that nature is in full control of that. And that megalithic site is being destroyed purposely by the wicked, because they know it is a spiritual ground, and they know that it is the heartstring of the island, and I think of the whole Caribbean, that is being destroyed when they destroy Greencastle Hill. So again, for those who may even need more information, I have this wonderful video documentary. It's only 30 minutes long, entitled Greencastle Hill Documentary. As I said, we are available to give you a copy of it, a free copy. You don't have to pay for it at all, and we send it straight to your inbox via the email. All you have to do is email me, of course, priestisaac27@gmail.com, and I will send you a copy of the Greencastle Hill documentary as it relates to the megaliths. And let me just say as well, for those who are planning to visit us and come down to Antigua or come up, depending on where you are, you surely would need some more information, the itinerary, and of course the prices as it relates to what you intend to, what you would have to contribute to just be a part of it. All you have to do is email me, and I'll send you the itinerary with the price list and everything of exactly what you would have to spend when you come to Antigua to Greencastle Hill. And I would remind you again, this whole mission is to preserve Greencastle Hill and to bring an awareness to the international community of the national treasure that we have here, and the destruction, the destruction of the hill at this very present moment, unnecessary destruction. If we were a people that were conscious, we would never destroy that hill. To me, the destruction of Greencastle Hill just proves how unconscious and how enslaved we are here in Antigua. I don't care what nobody say. I'm just telling you the truth, because I'm speaking from my heart, because it's been too long now. Too long I've been speaking about this. I've been speaking about this for almost 20 years, not in no corner, not to people I meet on the street, my brothers and sisters overseas. You would not know. Trust me, you would not know. I've spent thousands of dollars on radio programs directly dedicated, pardon me, to teaching this island about the sacredness of Greencastle Hill. Let's be straight here. We keep consciousness alive here, That's why every Black History Month we have an essay competition. That's why every so-called Christmas we have an art competition highlighting an African version of the Messiah and his mother, because they refuse to put any sort of African tradition in the school. They refuse to even put local history in the school. And we have been advocated, we have written dozens of letters to the Ministry of Education, sat with ministers, prime ministers, and gone over it over and over again. I must admit, we have never written a letter to CXC. I think that will be the next move. That is the Caribbean Examination Council. Yeah, I think that should be the next move. But it's still, I mean, I'm just telling you, even though we didn't do that, when we do that, there's still going to be something we never did, but we have done a lot. We've done a lot. We have done enough that I have enough confidence to say we are some enslaved people around here, and we refuse to accept the reality of what I am saying. Maybe because it's just me, We have this phrase in Antigua, me know he man, yeah. So because they know you, if some fella comes with a bow tie, let me show you an example. For years, I've been talking about extraterrestrials. Years. And about 3-4 years ago, this former astronaut came here to Antigua. And he had a presentation at the Multipurpose Center. And the astronaut, all he said was, there may be life in space. That's all the man said. And that made headline news. That made headline news. And I said, now look at that. Look at that. Now for years we've been talking about this, and nobody take us on. And it's the same thing with Greencastle Hill. That's why I push it so hard. Because I know Greencastle Hill isn't you can't hide Greencastle Hill. Somebody will come one day. Somebody will come, and this ain't no disrespect to you, whatever your nationality is, But let's just look at it realistically. Some white fella is gonna come in a suit and a tie with some letters behind his name and say, do you know you have a very sacred monument here in Antigua, Greencastle Hill? And then all of a sudden it's gonna be, wow, we never knew. Trust me, when that day happen, I'm gonna just scrape up my family and catch a flight, because I'm sure the island will sink. I'm sorry to have to end on that note, man, but that's how I feel. Yeah, it's disgusting, man. It's not a nice feeling to be the elephant in the room. That's why you notice even outside of that subject. Look at the biblical land of Israel. Look at the biblical land of Israel. Look at the biblical land of Israel. I mean, since I've launched the new book a few months ago, we have gone into the thousands now. Well, 1,000 plus emails and letters that I've sent throughout the world. Throughout the world. You see, I come on the internet and the radio and I call for anyone that can deny what I have discovered. I will say discovered because up to now I've never seen no one explain the land of Israel being Africa and Arabia biblically from what the Bible describes. No, nobody yet. There were a few people that say, yeah, the true Israelites are Africans. That's one thing. But to break it down the way we break it down and to take the biblical aspect and put it together, because you got to keep in mind, if my theory is the truth, a lot of things are changed. Everything gets thrown upside down, like Jerusalem and Bethlehem and Palestine, all of that becomes a whole fairy tale. But most people, they don't want to fully accept the way I bring it, although they cannot deny it. Do you know nobody up to now, nobody up to now has stepped up and said, yes, Priest Isaac, I love your work, but I'm not going to call no names, but I don't totally agree with your concept. I've been to Jerusalem and that is Jerusalem. I've been to Bethlehem and that is Bethlehem. And Palestine is Israel. So your concept from the river Euphrates to the Atlantic Ocean, I disagree. And I would like to take up your challenge. Nobody has done that. So I assume the whole world agrees with me. But then when you listen to the whole world talk, nobody agrees with me. But yet nobody can accept the challenge. Elephant in the room. And some of these people that we have on the YouTube, that they say that they're the king of consciousness and the conscious establishment is theirs. I mean, come on, you know who I'm talking of. I don't want to start to call names again, I already called the names and I don't want to get into that level, But I've called them, emailed them, they refuse to answer me. And yet still when you watch them, they're acting like if, anybody can come up here and debate my people. I said, but I've been calling you. I've been emailing you. So why not answer me? It's all a fake. Sometimes you have to wonder if they're working for some sort of secret society. Because look, I'm here, the true biblical land of Israel. Who is bold enough to deny it? Not just deny it, because many of you denied. Many denied. Almost all of you denied because you're caught up into some religious concept that you're afraid to let go. Well, come up and step up and prove it. The elephant in the room. That's the point. And it goes so for many different subject areas. But the time is going to come that we ain't going to be able to hide and duck anymore from Priest Isaac. Trust me, because I ain't going to stop. I refuse to give up. And Greencastle Hill, until they blow the last stone from the hill, I'm going to continue to advocate for its preservation. Yeah. Now remember to subscribe to, you can subscribe to the channel, the YouTube channel. But this subscription is for the shock of the hour. This is a program. What you're hearing here is the shock of the hour. Every Monday to Thursday, the shock of the hour is recorded. And for those of you outside of the the range of how far this goes, you can definitely get your copy of the Shock of the Hour each and every day. 4 days in the strong, the Shock of the Hour is produced. An Hour Plus program giving you information and inspiration similar to what you're hearing here. And all you have to do to subscribe to the Shock of the Hour, to keep in tune with the newest information and the conscious level that we are spitting out here, and all the philosophy, theology, and all that goes with it, astrology and astronomy, all you got to do is to email me, priestisaac27@gmail.com. And as I said, email me for the information as it relates to the winter solstice experience. If you know your Bible and you do not know your history, the knowledge of your Bible will become a mystery. And it takes some real eyes to realize the real lies that are amongst us. Holy Haile Selassie'S I, Jah Rastafari. Blessed love and lafia to each and every one. Salamta and blessed love. Honorable Priest Isaac here. It is with great joy that I am happy to announce to you that I have officially released my first ebook, Anu Ancient and Modern Revisited. This is the continuation process of our easy-to-read books. Within the pages of Anu Ancient and Modern Revisited, we take the time to show you the spiritual connection with the island of Antigua and Heliopolis in Kemet in Egypt, with the island of Antigua and the legendary continent of Atlantis. We also highlight Green Castle Hill, also known as Mount Anu, which is known as the Stonehenge of the Caribbean, with the countless of megaliths that align with the movements of the heavens. This is a must-read for all those who are students of the esoteric realms, astronomy, geology, and ancient sites. Of course, to get a copy of your book, all you have to do is to contact us at area code 1268-728-3162. Call, text, or even WhatsApp. Or you can email us at priestisaac27@gmail.com to get a copy of your ebook, Anu Ancient and Modern. It is an easy to read book, may appear light, but it is extremely heavy. Blessed God. Calling one and all internationally, the Ras Freeman Foundation for the Unification of Rastafari presents the 14th CRO Assembly to be held in Antigua and Barbuda from the 6th to the 10th of December 2018.
Honorable King, give us a word sound as it relates to the upcoming conference, my Lord. Blessed Lord.
I want to say greetings in the name of the Most High, Haile Selassie'S I, Jah Rastafari. Well, this was an idea of the King Fankai, and I think that is a very good idea, and we are working towards to make that be possible, you see, because I think that the earth has reached to a stage now where Rastafari has to become a reckoning force, you know, because we've been suppressed for actually 50 years and many more hundreds of years. This is something that is going, it's a black redemption. And I Rastafari are the forerunners, are the vanguard of the nation. And I here want to bring about or establish a conference that we can have, according to our prophet Marcus Messiah God, which says one God, one aim, and one destiny. Because we are at a crucial juncture in our earth today, where we're seeing all other races defending ourselves, don't love us at all. And we've been marginalized and victimized and depressed, and now we think that the time has come when it is vital and right for us to meet and discuss and the way forward as a nation of people. And I think that is a very great opportunity. And we are inviting people from all over the world, Rastafari, that we can come together and discuss the theological aspect of Rastafari according to divine Majesty, Empress Haile Selassie's I. This is neither your way nor my way. This is Rastafari way. So I think that a lot of strange knowledge and all kind of differences out there, we need to come together to discuss about ourselves and our faith. And this is what we're projecting in Wadadi today. We're calling for a universal gathering that we can hear and exchange ideas about an opinion and philosophy of the Rastafari movement, that we can get a clearer understanding the way forward. Because I must accept the fact there are many different illusionist concepts out there. People have locks on the head, balling everybody about Rastafari. But we want to bring about and to establish the permanent. And I believe that we got it. We have it. I believe that God bless us with that. And I are people who compromise Rastafari. I are people who make up story. Rastafari is the original everything. So we're calling for this gathering so we can hear the great minds come together and we can sit down and form a link up the Caribbean Rastafari and make our voice be heard internally and externally, because I'm very serious thing I carry on in the world. Haile I. For now, this is King Saraifo. Greetings in the name of the Most High God, Rastafari.
Yes, I love it.
On the agenda, the Nyabingi Tabernacle consecration, discussion on cannabis production and legislation, reparations, repatriation, and the connection with the African Union, CPAN and CARICOM, education, health, the youth, and much more on the agenda. So to all Rastafari friends and well-wishers who desire to be in Antigua for this gathering, please email rasta5349@gmail.com. That's rasta5349@gmail.com, or coyote@hotmail.com, KIYODE@hotmail.com, or call area code 268-732-9741. Calling one and all internationally, the Ras Freeman Foundation for the Unification of Rastafari presents the 14th CRO Assembly to be held in Antigua and Barbuda from the 6th to the 10th of December 2018. See you there.
Men and brethren, let me freely speak.